of social utility.
Okay, so what do you think determines reality?
You can empirically measure someone's chromosomes, but you can't empirically measure how much of a man or a woman someone is. So what makes something more man?
Did you see his face there? Because I'm sorry, Charlie. We still don't have the manometer. We've been working hard, our scientists, around the clock to be able to get it. It's not ready yet, though. It's not ready for public consumption. But yes, we don't have the manometer yet. Until we do, we'll never truly know, you know? Is there going to be like a feminization, like temperature read? It's like, yes, his forced feminization is coming along nicely. This guy, not a man. Didn't get a 7 on the manometer. Unfortunately, still a soy boy. Yeah, soon he'll upgrade to a femboy.
To their unique needs. The Advocates for Trans Equality maintains a list of over 30 of the largest US-based medical organizations that support transgender care, including the Endocrine Society, the Pediatric Endocrine Society, the American Public Health Association, and the American Medical Association. And the American College of Pediatricians are not among those organizations that are actually credible. Now, the reason why those organizations are credible and the American College of Pediatricians is not credible is because those organizations listed by Aaron Reed, they represent the medical consensus on this issue. The American College of Pediatricians, they have just 700 members and happen to be propped up by rich right-wing donors, whereas the American Academy of Pediatrics, which is the real organization, is represented by 67,000 pediatricians who base their support for gender-affirming healthcare on peer-reviewed studies, as opposed to religious beliefs and pseudoscience. So, I mean, I rest my case. This is not a real medical organization. It is a fake medical organization using pseudoscience and misinformation to justify anti-trans policies. They're not experts, they're quacks, and should be disregarded entirely.
You hear that, Jimmy Dore? You see this? You see? All right. By the way, Sneeko apparently just got banned on Twitch. This Sneeko, the same one.
You know what to do.
Yeah, that apparently. Welcome back on Twitch. This same Sneeko. This one. At last night's America First rally, founder Nick Fuentes called for a holy war against the Jews, promising that he and his followers would make them die. Popular influencer Sneeko appeared on stage to support the movement, saying Fuentes will be the future president of the United States of America. Welcome back. Odd time, really, during Pride too, considering he's one of the biggest like anti-LGBTQ plus bigots in the manosphere. He usually directly tries to do anti-Semitic conspiracy theories directly related to his anti-LGBTQ plus shit, but yeah, I guess you know, money talks.
They get help.
Yeah, but that's kind of like the same logic with conversion therapy, right?
What about it?
Because you think there's something fundamentally wrong.
Well, I do think there's something fundamentally wrong with a 14-year-old girl who thinks they're a boy, yes.
That's okay. Why?
Well, because their chromosomes aren't in alignment with the fantasy in their head.
But why? Why is that a problem?
Well, because your imagination doesn't determine your reality.
But no. But how does wearing a dress instead of a suit to prom hurting anyone?
Okay, that's a separate question.
No, that's what gender is, though.
Oh, hold on a second. Which question do you want me to... Just keep the mic there so we can...
Gender and sex are two different things. We can...
Wrong.
No, actually, they're correlated. They're correlated. And it's bimodal.
So let me ask you a question.
No. Let me finish.
Can someone pick their pronouns?
I want you to answer my question.
Well, which one? How does someone wearing a dress affect someone at prom?
If you let me finish...
Well, I think it's more, how does it affect you, right? Like, why are you making it your business? If you're like, oh, that person has a problem, I need to intercede immediately. We need to be in the discussion. If it's just like, and again, this one might be a little bit more complex for Charlie Kirk, you know, to wrap his head around. We're talking about gender expression there specifically, because you could be a cis guy and you want to express your gender in different ways that are not conventional. So that could be you want to walk around in dresses. It's not my thing, but like, if that's what you want to do, why is it anyone else's business or problem? You know, you make it into your problem and you're like, that's not the way things are supposed to be. Yeah, boys shouldn't dress up as girls and girls shouldn't dress up as boys, because if they do that we get confused and then we get femboys and catboys. Once we have femboys and catboys, all of a sudden my search history gets complicated.
Which one of the four questions?
All right. It's more helpful for you, isn't it, right, to think of gender and sex separately, socially. Like if you're just talking and you refer to sex as one thing.
That's a pretty good Nixon. No, I didn't have the jowls. I'm like, you gotta jowl those.
And gender as another, it's more helpful because there's no direct connection between address and chromosomes, right? So if you were to talk to someone about gender, why is it bad to wear a dress?
That's a really good line. There's no correlation between wearing a dress and chromosomes. It's true. Societal standards are usually what we associate with, like, you know, what we consider to be appropriate gender identity. Because yeah, you can't make an argument like you're XX, you're XY, and those are the only two, by the way. And if you happen to be one of those two, well, then at the end of the day, you're going to be more predisposed to playing with certain toys. Like that's cast review tier stuff.
When Mike, like, if I was to wear a dress to prom with my boyfriend, then why would that be a bad thing?
Got it. Okay.
Because I have a Y chromosome.
Okay, so why is it a bad thing? Okay, I'll go through the list. Well, number one, I don't think I should entertain something that is not true. I think that's a bad precedent for all of humanity. And if you all of a sudden want to appropriate
but you can't
womanhood, let me
okay.
finish. Hold on. I'm sorry.
Prove gender. You can't prove the existence of gender.
Let me just talk about that.
You can't prove the existence of sex.
Let me say this.
You can't empirically measure gender.
You are using, thank you. You're using
Shut them up. There's too much reality here, okay?
a definition of gender and sex that is rather a new phenomenon. Gender and
No, it's not. I mean, I think it's pretty widely understood at this point, gender, social construct, and then sex. The big disagreement when it comes to sex is that they believe that there are simply just two sexes. And if you start to say, well, sex, what modern science demonstrates is it is in fact bimodal, as you know, the student was about to demonstrate there, in that there are two very most likely outcomes that are often what you will see in nature. However, there are alternatives to those outcomes that you can't ignore. Even if they don't occur at the same frequency as the other two options, they still occur. So you can have, again, XXY, XXX. There's different conditions you can have that suppress certain kinds of testosterone. So you might have XY chromosomes, but you end up developing with a lot of traits that we associate with being a woman, specifically because of a condition that you may have, stuff like that. And because of that, it's very, very difficult if you were a scientist to suddenly say, yes, it's a binary. There's just one of two options, when that's just not reality. Again,
sex are directly related. So let me ask you a question. Do you believe you could pick your pronouns?
Yes.
Do you believe you could pick your adjectives?
Yes. You can choose different adjectives.
So I could be
gain different social
I could be
use.
I was like, wait, is this the gotcha? What's next? First they pick pronouns and they pick adjectives. Huh? What are you gonna do next? Verbs?
small, I could be strong, I could be rich, I could be smart just by my own imagination.
Yes, and I could also describe you in any way that I want to. I don't think you want to be described in the same way I describe you, Charlie. I describe you heave the shrinking face. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't do the same thing, but that doesn't mean I don't get to decide and choose. It's language. You could say anything you want. Anything at all. It's the beautiful freedom of language.
Nation?
It's a matter of social utility.
Okay, so what do you think determines reality?
You can empirically measure someone's chromosomes, but you can't empirically measure how much of a man or a woman someone is. So what makes something more man?
Did you see his face there? Because I'm sorry, Charlie. We still don't have the manometer. We've been working hard, our scientists, around the clock to be able to get it. It's not ready yet, though. It's not ready for public consumption. But yes, we don't have the manometer yet. Until we do, we'll never truly know, you know? Is there going to be like a feminization, like temperature read? It's like, yes, his forced feminization is coming along nicely. This guy, not a man. Didn't get a 7 on the manometer. Unfortunately, still a soy boy. Yeah, but soon he'll upgrade to a femboy if we work hard enough.
Versus more feminine. There's
testosterone, estrogen, muscle mass, size.
That's related.
Yeah, but again, at what point do you qualify? There's women with higher testosterone levels than some dudes. Oftentimes it's just like, well, they're not allowed to compete in the Olympics. Unfortunately, they have an unfair advantage. What is the unfair advantage? Oh, just, again, the natural biology of how they were born. Well, yeah, I mean, by that definition, there's certain athletes who shouldn't be able to play in any sport ever again. They have a very unfair advantage, you know? Who's that American swimmer who's just like, he's so far beyond any other potential swimmer in his leagues, like no one can come close. He's broken so many of the records, and like he's just from the ground up. So by Michael Phelps, thank you, Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps, have you seen people like, you know, discuss Michael Phelps who actually know what they're talking about when they're like, everything about that man is as if he was engineered in a lab to be the absolute best at the specific thing that he's trying to play in. You know, everything from the angle and the width of his shoulders to the length of his arms to like his lung capacity. Every element that constitutes Michael Phelps was like hyper engineered to be the world's greatest swimmer, and no one can come close. Does that mean that Michael Phelps is no longer able to compete in any category ever again? Is he just permanently banned? It's just like, well, I mean, just one human being happened to just have the sauce, so what are we supposed to do here?
Proclivity towards emotional distress.
But you can change those. But you can change those.
I'm sorry? You can
change levels of testosterone and estrogen or androgen levels.
Well, yeah, you could suppress artificially and put
or you can enhance artificially, like Joe Rogan does. Yeah, he was taking human growth hormone. He was taking testosterone supplements. Yeah, I mean, he was just doing some gender affirming care. No one batted an eye. In fact, it was considered very manly. He was just trying to get swole. What's wrong with trying to get a little bit more swole, you know?
things in. You could also remove critical body parts. There's a lot of things you could do that are not right.
What? Okay. So that's more of an. I'm a moral anti-realist. So the point of that is that you can, like, as long as it's someone's choice. I think you need to wait until you're 18 probably to do a lot of gender affirming surgeries. But things like puberty blockers are actually really helpful because they can be reversed later on in life. Yes, they can.
So you realize that.
You hear the murmur amongst the crowd too, like, oh, Balderdash, how dare he? Oh, murmur.
That's a chemical castration of children, right?
You can avoid that. That doesn't happen. They're safe. They've been used since the 70s to help people who are having like stressful periods.
Yeah, that's not true.
That is true.
You can't press pause on puberty. The amount of
that's the purpose of the drug. That is the purpose of the drug.
Yeah, so then why would there be 30,000 people that regret transitioning and want to detransition?
So you got the goalposts getting moved there.
We know of, and that list growing in great numbers. And how do you explain suicide rates going up 7 to 8 years after the boost of testosterone, when young people, they get Lupron, they get puberty blockers, and then 7, 8 years later, the suicide rates go up dramatically? How do you explain that?
I know what you're referring to. That has to do with people being forced to detransition and the social pressure that occurs as a result of it.
So I was randomly going on Rumble, trying to find clips for y'all, and then I just happened to be clicking through Charlie Kirk's show because I thought he'd be talking about Hunter Biden's hog, which he obviously was. He dedicated most of his stream to that. But I randomly just clicked on this moment right here. I was like, oh wow, this seems like a really good moment in his like I'm eviscerating college student debates, because it happens to be someone who, while is not completely on board with things that like the medical community has agreed upon, like it is, there's a general consensus amongst the medical community that giving certain forms of surgery to, students who are like 16 years old with their parents and doctor's consent for things like mastectomies are completely appropriate. They're done to cis children all the time. No one bats an eye. So if they're done in the form of gender affirming care, if they have incredibly high, which they do, rates of non rates for regret, I should state, from that way, then it's completely acceptable to do. But either way, clearly knows the answers to a lot of Charlie Kirk's obvious lies that he tries to spread on a regular basis. And it puts Charlie Kirk into a corner where he has to keep now pivoting, right? Moving the goalpost each time. It's like, well, that's just simply not true. That's infactual. Okay, well then explain me this. Why do so many people commit suicide, huh? Well, that has to do something with something. That's bad. It's a bad thing. So clearly that'll have some effect on the conversation we're having right now. It's like, I know what you're referring to, and what you're referring to, especially when it comes to suicide ideation amongst trans people, that comes from social stigma. That's cis folk, us. We're the ones that unfortunately are in a cis-normative society being dicks about everything. That can contribute. The social stigma, certainly, as well as the fact that when people are forced to detransition, that can also contribute towards suicidal ideation. But it's not as if just being trans is what creates that. It's people being a dick to you in society.
That rough, but I mean, you could have your own definition. But let me just close by saying this, which is What do you think determines
My friends
reality?
have been attacked.
Okay. So your friends have been attacked
Because of their identities.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
A MAGA hat is not an identity. Being a fucking conservative is not an identity. I'm sorry. You fucking wannabe victims. Oh, well, I know what that's like, you know? You put on a MAGA hat, you leave the house, people give you looks, they say mean names, slurs, right? I assume it's the equivalent of the N-word. I get those all the time when I leave in my MAGA hat. It's very hard. It's very, very hard. And that's for my identity as a MAGA.
So, do I create a mass movement trying to tell people to feel sorry for me all the time?
Yeah, because, I mean, sure, if you want to feel people be sorry for you, I don't want your friends to get hurt.
Nor do I want your friends to get hurt.
But your
people,
rhetoric encourages that.
No, hold on.
Yes, it
True.
Hold on.
Absolutely
the best
true.
way. Okay. All right. Okay. The best way to help people. Let me just. I think maybe we can find some agreement here. A general rule for life. Do you think the best way to help people, if you know? Hold on.
He's trying to be basically like, do you think it helps people to lie to them? Do you think it helps people to encourage their destructive behavior, is what he's saying, which is the condescending thing you'll hear from every hate preacher that's ever existed, right? Like, I'm trying to help you. That's why I'm castrating you. I'm trying to help you. That's why I'm going to lock you up for sodomy. I'm trying to help you. That's why I'm not going to let you have the same rights as everybody else, to help you. I want to convert you to the true path. The path of straight, the path of cis. That's what we got to do, because you're not normal. You're broken, and because you're broken, I'm here to help you. And someone who loves you would force you to be something that you're not. That's what someone who loves you would do.
Put the mic up in a second.
You're not helping.
It's the best way to help people to lie to them or tell them the truth.
You need to tell them the truth.
I agree. We should tell young boys that are suffering from gender dysphoria, or young girls that are suffering from gender dysphoria, that you're not going into an operating room, and we love you enough to tell you the truth to get you back into alignment on how God created you. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you. Nope, next question. Thank you.
Things are getting too real, you know? And it is rare. It's like, it's incredibly difficult in these situations to actually get any kind of wins, because they're all set up against you. You're standing in an auditorium of people who are big Charlie Kirk fans. All of them, you're surrounded by an audience of people who are going to boo you, who are going to hiss, who are going to call you names. And Charlie Kirk has media experience. He's got a set of tricks that he's ready on the draw to be able to be like, well, that's simply not true because of this. Well, you say that, but what about that? And then, honestly, if you happen to be someone who knows what you're talking about, you're not going to relent. And you also come, you could tell, from a place of passion. This individual was telling firsthand stories about how their friends had been attacked for their identities. People have been beat up for their identities, in large part due to people like Charlie Kirk, who spread lies, who spread, like, he's trying to make everyone feel as if they have a moral righteousness in being bullies, and that you are doing the right thing. It's okay to bully people. It's okay to try and take away their rights, because ultimately we're trying to make them better by making them more like us. The normal ones, us of the small faces. But you don't have to be, you know? It's perfectly normal. It's perfectly awesome and perfectly, you know, to be yourself. Don't listen to the fucking Charlie Kirks of the world. Don't let them get you down. They're bullshit. Don't let any of these assholes get you down. And we're going to go on to a couple of more stories. FaZe Clan, are you phased? If you don't know, FaZe Clan's a massive video game conglomerate of players. There's a bunch of different clans. Some of them are usually competitive players who are really good at specific video games. They join together and they form these groups, and these groups get massive sponsorships. They're very corporate. They make tons of money, and a lot of them sometimes can have some pretty bad people involved. FaZe Clan members have been involved in a ton of scandals, including cryptocurrency scandals, really grifting the fuck out of their audiences. But they're individual members, right? They don't make up the entirety of the FaZe Clan, but there are some members who, for one reason or another, are doing some pretty shady stuff like that. It's just straight up like, you know, sending love to members who enjoy us and might also be LGBTQ+, you know? And so, you know, people are saying that the gaming community has a long way to go. I'd still say elements, right? Hashtag not all gamers, as I will reiterate. So this was the original tweet that they made. Some responses. I hate FaZe Clan now. If a man has sexual relations with a man as one does with a woman, both of them have done what is detestable. They are to be put to death. Their blood will be on their heads. Leviticus 20:13. The Bible. It's in the Bible. Lost all my respect for this team. Where's straight month? Says Jolt. God damn it, Jolt. One day you'll get straight month. Lost all my respect for Team L. Team honestly, just delete the tweet. Why? Things went even more downhill after FaZe member Talal Virus Al-Maki remarked that he didn't agree with the clan's pride statement. Just to clarify that I don't support any kind of LGBTQ+ or anything similar, even if FaZe does. He wrote in a now deleted quote tweet, I'm a Muslim. Al-Maki is a top tier Call of Duty player with 1 million subscribers on YouTube. He's also FaZe's first signing in Saudi Arabia, a country that has a long track record of human rights abuses where being gay is criminalized. There are of course plenty of self-identifying Muslims who support LGBTQ+ rights, just there are as many self-identifying Christians who do, but that doesn't stop a lot of FaZe Clan members from latching on to screenshots of Al-Maki's post to defend him. So that's one member, but we also got to talk about Nickmercs, who's making waves for his recent posts. So before we get to the video itself, so this was Capri Sun who made this post. FaZe, Nickmercs, pronouns in the bio, fucking loser, and then, you know, made this fun little graphic, but apparently, you know, Nickmercs wanted a safe space and blocked him. Didn't block me. You know, I thought I'd be getting a block too, but no, it was just some puppy. But yeah, I guess he wanted a safe space. Wanted to find a safe space, and he did on his live streams, where he'd go into more detail about his views.
Nick, the transphobe struggling against the trans game. There's no such thing as trans people. That's something that you created. So have fun with your little dreamland, but that shit's not even real. Let me break it down for you, right? Penis, dude. Vagina, girl.
Yeah, that never the twain shall meet. Hey, science people. Penis, man. Vagina, woman. All right? We are defined as men by our dicks. If you lose your dick for any reason, you're no longer a man. Yeah. Heaven forbid there might be people who engage in warfare and might lose, you know, parts of their body. But they're no longer men. True, they're heroes, yes, but not manly heroes. Just heroes. But yeah, there's that. There's also some other complicated loopholes that kind of start to feel a little bit odd once you start to think about them. What if the penis stops working, as they tend to do much later in life? Don't get as erect as they used to. You know, is erectile dysfunction? Does that immediately dequalify you as a man if you can't get hard? Have you lost your manliness? I mean, is taking drugs cheating? If you take like Cialis or Viagra to get hard, does that mean you're then a man again, but only temporary for however long the drugs last? And then when they wear off, or have you lost your manliness in the process? Is that also a thing? Does the kind of penis manify you? Does it have to be a manly penis? What if it was a rather feminine penis? I mean, you wouldn't tell anyone, of course, but like, is there such a thing? Is there a more muscular, manly looking penis? Does the level of penis vein contribute to the manliness? Again, these are details that we'll have to work out in the future, but it gets really complicated when, again, you think that what defines you as a dude is your fucking dick.
Come in here with that fucking Nick.
I've been with a lot of old guys that can't keep it up for longer than 5 minutes, but I would suspect they're still men, even if they're unable to maintain an erection. I still think that doesn't disqualify you from being a man, because I would posit we are more than walking prostates. You know, we are more than that. We are more than phalluses. There's a great many splendid things that we could become if we weren't just limited by cock and balls, like all these weirdos want us to be.
Howdy everybody. I just wanted to let you know that for the cost of a cup of coffee, you can unlock bonus uncensored episodes of Mind Explosions by going to patreon.com/theserfs. Our videos couldn't exist without your support, and all our content is released early to our Patreon subscribers, as well as a ton of extra content you can't get anywhere else. Please like, subscribe, and thumbs up this channel, and if you're feeling extra perky, share it anywhere you think people would like to see or learn from our videos. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We first want to give a shout out to everyone who makes this show possible. This program is produced thanks to the generous support of our Patreon supporters: Anna Loves Riley, Arian McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Comrade Junkie, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hagbar Celine, Jimmy Sombrero, Multimondi, Omni, Peanut Butter Blondie, Political Poppy, Preston Kroll, Quiet 185, Richard Bomey, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Ruby, Cernicus, Stellar Gwyn, Sebastian Demmel, Travis McClinton, and Words Greenwood, as well as every other person you see on the screen right now. This show would not be possible without them. And if you want to join these wonderful people who make this entire program possible, simply go to patreon.com/the Serfs and you can unlock uncensored and bonus episodes and, help us exist.